We are live on the scene tonight of yet another officer-involved shooting. That man has been identified as LAPD officer Brian Stanley.
Our neighbor?
Our neighbor. And now we wait for him to be exonerated.
So what does Wynn do, Vanessa?
We gotta take a stand. You're going to come over to our house. I'm going to talk, and you're going to listen.
You're watching BLACKTREE on TV.
This was such an interesting movie because when it started off, I didn't know where it was going. Our first interaction on the couch after watching the clip, I was like, where is this movie about to go? I was so intrigued from the first act. So you guys really pulled it off. First, like, how does it feel for this movie? Because I know y'all shot it a while ago to come out in this period where not only is it Black History Month and we're talking about, you know, who we are as a people here in America, but the recent deaths of other Black people by the hands of police have raised an eyebrow on this topic of police brutality. Like, how does it feel to be part of the conversation with a piece of art like this?
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of tragic, I think, that we are a piece of that conversation, that a movie like this, that the source material there's a wealth of source material for a movie like this, where we see this couple watch during that evening of news, and that we just so happen to be, you know, mourning the loss of, you know, the most recent public, I guess, execution. It's terrible that it's timely, you know, because we shot this at the top of 2020, and then COVID happened, and then we had even more of those things happen, and unfortunately, they'll continue to happen. So I think it's kind of unfortunate, but I think what we do have is the ability as artists to have an outlet to sort of allow people to synthesize how they feel and realize that we all don't feel the same way about everything. And I think this movie, A Lot of Nothing, it really does a good job attempting to distill that thought.
Yeah.
Cleo, yes. Well, I was going to jump off of what Ylan said. I think the tragedy of it is that it's never not topical. It's never not timely. This is not a new thing. But as artists, it is wonderful to be able to reflect the times, whether they are good or bad.
Yeah. Cleo, I really loved you and White Famous and some other projects you've done. But I wonder, as an Aussie, like when you look at stuff that happens, I think it's called Bryson Bay, and we look here in America. I mean, are there a lot of similarities to the way that brown people, Black people are treated at the hands of authorities in the two places?
Yes. Yes, I would say that the conditioning that a lot of people hold towards Black and brown people is based off of decisions made a long time ago, and that conditioning has not gone away. I'm from Australia, which is a colonized country. This is, you know, there was a genocide very similar to here with the indigenous population here. My family's from Jamaica, you know, which means we're from West Africa. So it's all related. And living in America now, it's wonderful to be part of a community, I will say, as opposed to in Australia, where it's a lot more of an isolated experience as far as these themes. But yes, it's a global thing.
This right here. This is what you do. You create a necessity for chaos so that your projections can thrive. Yep. I've been seeing a therapist.
What?
And I've noticed some of your hour patterns. You know, you get all worked up, and then you get me there too. And then my feelings And my frustrations, they have to be yours, or they're not valid.
What therapist?
And you
When?
escalate everything until we're stuck in this counterproductive cycle, until all that's left is my anxiety and my bitterness, babe. And Sheila thinks that that's part of our codependency.
Sheila?
And honestly, I'm starting to
Of
think
course
that
it's a Sheila.
Don't say it like that.
Like what? Like you're having a secret rendezvous with Sheila?
That is not fair, Vanessa, okay?
Do not talk to me about fair.
Ylan, you're a Morehouse man. You started in Brooklyn like me. You raised in Stone Mountain. I was right over there in Decatur. So we got a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
How did this dream come upon you? I know there's been so many famous people that in the world of film and theater that came through Morehouse, and I know you went to Tisch later. But how did this dream to start this acting career start? And can you just tell the fans a little about that?
Man, I almost shed a tear just now because he took me through my whole little situation with Morehouse. Well, I gotta say, I didn't graduate from Morehouse, and interestingly enough, so I'm not a Morehouse man. I'm a man of Morehouse. There's some semantics there, but I had my sophomore year at Morehouse. I spoke to Spike Lee because I was interested in acting, and he was doing a new student orientation. So real quick, I spoke to him, and he told me, hey, he didn't even look at me when he said, if you want to do some acting, go to NYU, do a semester abroad or domestic exchange. If you like it, stay. If you don't, come back. And I did. And I ended up loving it. I fell in love with it. It was like, for me, I'm an athlete. So I grew up, it was the closest thing to like being on the field with your brothers, and going for trying to get to that specific goal. And that's it. I'm still living that dream, trying to get to a specific goal. And my teammate happened to be Cleopatra and Mo and all of these people on this wonderful film that we did. And it just reminds me how blessed I am. So shout out to Brooklyn, shout out to Morehouse, shout out to Tisch, and shout out to you, bro.
And your first response was going to be to post something on social media. And this question is for both of you. If Malcolm X or Martin Luther King had social media, like, do you think that would have been like part of their tools that they would have been using would be posts as opposed to? I mean, what do you think about like that? I had a whole little thought about your first response, like, yo, we're gonna post something on Facebook. Like what do you think about social media activists as opposed to, or with the thought of the activists from the past that just had to march to get that attention, had to be out there on the front lines? What do y'all think about that?
Well, it's hard to know what an individual would do. I mean, back then you'd write books, so maybe a modern day version would be to post online. It's hard to say, but I would say, a big part of activism is obviously raising awareness. Social media is a great tool for that, but I value conversations in person a lot more than that, and I think they can be a lot more useful, particularly opposing views. If you can have a conversation with someone, I think that's more valuable in some ways.
Yeah. Love the film. Can't wait till the conversation start. Cleo, I was really mad at your character so many times in this film because I was like, you're gonna get this brother killed. But it was so many dynamics and so many twists and turns in the film that, I mean, shout out to Mo and to David Oyelowo for making this happen, because I thought it was very enjoyable and I loved your performances.
Oh man,
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.